Hi everybody, this is Pat Hogarty. As you probably know, I'm faculty, full-time faculty at Sacramento City College. I teach both computer science classes and real estate classes. And it's time now to be ordering the textbooks for the spring 2015 semester. And our department chair, Deborah Crumpton, asked me to make a short little video on how one goes about doing this. One thing I do want to mention is because we do it very infrequently, in other words, we do it in the fall for the spring, and we do it in, possibly maybe you do order books or teach 3 times a year, so you have a little bit more of an opportunity to do it more often. But for me, in my particular case, every time that I go back through to do this, I have to go back in, go through my notes, maybe talk to Margaret DeCruz, who's our clerk in the business division office, to get myself refreshed on how to do this. So Deborah thought it would be a good idea if I created this video tutorial on just how everybody goes about doing it. As I go through this process, what I'm going to do is start out with the email that you would have received from Margaret. That will also include a password so that you'll be able to log in. This password's different than the one that you normally use to log in to, say, e-services or check your email or D2L. So you want to be cognizant of that. And then I'm going to be taking you to the bookstore website and then walking you through the process of how I would order a textbook, a normal textbook where I've taught the class before. One thing I do want to mention is that if you do have where maybe you've not done this before, there's always Margaret's always available. You could always speak to me, or we have a number of other full-time faculty that are very familiar with what this process is. Many of you have mentors that you can go to and get some form of assistance on doing this. One final thing I did want to mention is when I make this video tutorial, I'm actually putting it up on YouTube. And because it is a screencast, in other words, I'm capturing the screen as I'm speaking, you'll want to run this. There's a little gear on the player for the YouTube, a little gear down the bottom right-hand side where you can select the quality. So you're going to want to select that gear and then select 720 HD, which will be high definition, and then go to full screen, and then you'll be able to see the screencast very clearly. So with that, let's go ahead and move on, and I'll walk you through the process. Now, probably the first indication that you're going to have that you need to order textbooks for your spring 2015 class is that you're going to receive an email from Margaret DeCruz, who is our business division clerk, whose office is in the mailroom. And what's going to happen is it'll just be a short little email where she's essentially just forwarding an email that she received from Dave in the bookstore. Dave Rod is the one that takes care of the ordering of the books. One thing I want to point out while I'm here is that you should also, if you've never done this before, is that there's 2 Adobe Acrobat PDF files that you can open up and download, read, and be able to follow through the process. I'm just going to go ahead and scroll down here now. And after you, as you move down here, you'll see the email from Dave. Now, one thing I did want to point out, and I didn't want to show because it wouldn't be a good idea because this video tutorial is going to be on YouTube, is that there is a password up at the top of this email that Margaret sent. And this password is not the same password that you would utilize to log into any other accounts. It's a specialized password, so that's why you'll need to have that. Now, as I scroll down here, you'll get information about what's required for ordering the books, and then you'll see this link here. Now, once you click on the link, and I've already opened that page up, you'll be directed to this page here. And the next step that you're going to want to do is just click on Faculty Adoption. And once you click on Faculty Adoption, it's going to ask you for an email address, and it's your email address that ties this whole process through because there's already been some things identified as which classes you're teaching, so it sort of ties everything together. So what I'm going to do is just go back here for a minute, and I'm going to put in my email address. And this will be the one that we use at the college, not a personal email address, or at least the one that's registered that you use. And also a password. And once I click on that, I'm going to go ahead and click Login. And I'm not going to have it remember my password. I don't want it to do that. You could if you wanted to. Now the easiest way, the simplest way to order your textbooks is just to go over here and go through the guided adoption. And once you do that, you'll see this screen. Up at the top, you'll see these steps that'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. And basically what those steps are for, and as I mentioned, basically what those steps are for is that it's just like when you're ordering tickets, an airline ticket or something like that, where the first step is you order, put your name in. Second step, you're choosing a flight, and it just walks you through the process. And when all of these things are done, you've known that you've done all the steps to order the books. Now down below here, you'll see the term that you're going to be picking. In our case, we're going to go down here and click the Spring 2015 term. And we're going to also, I teach in 2 different areas, so what I'm going to do is pick the CISC classes. And then I'm just going to go ahead and scroll down here. And then from here, I'm going to pick the course that I'm teaching, which is Real Estate 324. These are courses that I've taught at one time or another, or been scheduled to teach. And it's automatically then going to pick the section that I use. And the sections are going to be, if I had picked a different course, for example, if I went back here and I picked something like CISC 310, then what would happen is you would see a lot of these other sections, and these sections are not taught by me, they're taught by other instructors. So sort of like what it's doing is it's narrowing down, continuously narrowing down, if you will, we're identifying your course specifically. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to go back here, I'm going to pick 324, and I'm going to pick the course section that I have. Next thing that's important is that I'm putting my name in here. It needs to have the name or your name in here. If not, then you get an error message. If the course doesn't require any materials, then you would check this box right here. Now the next thing that I wanted to point out is that you see this estimated enrollment and estimated pre-enrollment. Also you see course type. I've talked to both Margaret, and Margaret has talked to Dave Rod in the bookstore, and we do not fill any of this out because the system actually gets the data from other computer systems to populate these fields. So in my case, I'm just going to go ahead and say add course. And it's going to go ahead through and add the course, and then I get several different options. I can find textbooks if I'm looking for one, but what I'm going to do, because I'm going to be using a textbook I've used before, I'm just going to say view, and select previously adopted textbooks by term and department. That's what I'm going to pick, and I'm just going to say go ahead and go OK. And I'm going to scroll down here, and we'll see this is the CISC department. All terms, I'm just going to go ahead and pick the fall term. I'm going to pick the instructor, and then I'm just going to go ahead and search is what I'm going to do. And when I scroll down here, I can see the books that I've utilized, and the book that I'm interested in right now is the book that has to do with that I used in the fall. This was the section, my name, and I'm going to go ahead and just click on the view like this, and it's going to come down here and it's going to select the book or show me the book that I have. That's what I did for the fall. Okay, this is the book that I'm utilizing. Okay. And once I do that, by the way, notice how this is moved from here to here. So I'm going to go ahead and add to the adoption request. Click this button right here. Take a minute. It says, do you want to adopt more books for this course? If I did, like if I had a lab book or something, I would add that. I'm going to say no. Now notice that I've moved to step 3, and it gives me a brief little thing. It just says the section up here, 324, the title of the book, the edition, the price, the ISBN number, and then I'm going to go ahead and review the adoption. and I just select now. This brings up this little menu here. So what I'm going to do is just select this, and I'm just going to say, this tells me, you know, how I want the book being utilized. What I'm going to do is say that the book is required for the class, and then I'm going to go ahead again and review adoption. And the final thing I'm going to do is submit the adoption. And when I come back, it says step 404, review and submit. Your adoption has been submitted. Print adoption, create a new adoption, or whatever it happens to be, I can do that. Okay, and so now I am completed at this portion of the process. Now the last part of this process is for you to go ahead and check to see that everything has been ordered or submitted. And the way that you do this is you go down here to where it says Faculty Adoption Home. You click on that, and it takes you to this screen. And what you're looking for is right here where it says View and Edit Adoptions. And it says My Submitted Adoptions. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And this gives you a list of what has been ordered so far. So in my particular class, where I'm at right now is that I've worked on ordering my CISC 310 class, my CISC 323, and 324. You will notice that it says Open Submitted as the status. This one is Open Received and Open Submitted. And I wanted to, Margaret and I talked about this for a few minutes. She also spoke to Dave Rod in the bookstore. Basically what happens is that once you order the textbook, the system, not a human being apparently, but the system somewhere along the line runs a process. And what that does is it generates, the end of that process is it generates an email to that goes to Margaret. And I believe you also receive a copy of that. And essentially what it is that Margaret goes through and double checks everything to make absolutely sure that the book is needed, just as a double check kind of a process, if you will. She approves that by the business division, and then it gets submitted. And then what happens is once the book has been ordered, then there's another email that's been generated, and that completes the process. Now, I just wanted to mention that to you because a lot of times when we order things, we get an instantaneous feedback. You know, like for example, when we order a duplicating job, as soon as we hit the button and order the duplicating job, we instantaneously get an email back saying we've received your print job, and it's in process. In this case, there is and the only way I can explain it to you is that there's a system, however that system goes, that is going through checking. It could be a batch process, I'm not sure, but it's double checking everything and then generating that first email that you get saying it's being reviewed by the business division for approval, and then the second one that it's been adopted. So this should pretty much be able to cover the process of ordering textbooks. As I mentioned when we started this, is that if you have any questions at all, the best person to call is Margaret. Margaret DeCruz in the business division office, and ask her for any help. So if you have something, you've never ordered a textbook before, you want to order a book that's never been used before, you need any sort of tutoring at all, she can help you through that process. And of course, I'm always available, and other faculty are available to help you if you need to order any help in ordering the textbooks. And again, thank you very much for watching this video tutorial. I hope it really has helped.